Hello, good evening. It's News360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's bring you the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Aggrieved teachers from the 2022 batch of the Colleges of Education vow to spend the night at the premises of the Ghana Education Service until their grievances are met.
Workers of the Ghana Meteorological Agency up in arms with government for undue delays in reviewing their service conditions.
Also coming up, some 220 former MMDCEs pledged their support for former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead the New Patriotic Party to the 2028 elections.
Coming up in business news, economists allays fears ongoing Israel and Iran conflict will significantly derail government efforts to bring inflation under control.
On the international front, Iran launches missiles at U.S. bases in Qatar and Iraq in response to strikes on its nuclear sites on Saturday.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
And a lot is happening in the camp of the New Patriotic Party, and that's where we start our package from today, because some 220 former MMDCEs who served between 2017 and 2024 have pledged their support for former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead the party again. Addressing the media in Accra on Monday, the MMDCE said they are convinced that the 2024 flag bearer is the best option for the party. One of the attendees also denied assertions that the same MMDCEs met Ken Japan, who is also running for the same position as flag bearer of the party.
Japan invited all MMDCEs. I was there myself.
Did you throw your support behind it?
He did not throw support.
Nobody.
No. His assertion that over 250 came to endorse him is false. Today, listen, Chief, you have asked a question. Today, we are reading a statement on behalf of all of us. There was no statement read at Ken Japan's.
Nobody declared any support.
We spoke, we wined, we dined, and we left. Today, we are showing our support with a statement. Thank you.
Clearly, it's beginning to feel like 2024 all over again. So let's find out what exactly are the reasons that these MMDCEs, numbering about 220 in all, have as reason why they are supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Well, they list, among other things, that, for instance, they believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the key in the man to lead the party, in that he championed the digital transformation, which included the Ghana card, mobile money interoperability, and paperless sports. Also, he promoted efficiency and formalized the economy. So he has a proven public sector record as a leader. Then on issues regarding data, they say that there is evidence-based policy making, and also he's a strong focus on results and impact. They go on to say that he His leadership style is an all-inclusive one, and he is accessible, he's humble, and widely respected by the base of the New Patriotic Party. The electoral strengths they believe Dr. Bawumia has include broad appeal to the youth, the business community, and floating voters. They say he has proven national visibility from 2024 campaign, and then also guarantees a minimum of at least 41% electoral starting base. And that 41% stems from the percentage the NPP believes Dr. Bawumia got in the last election, whereas the EC results say he had 38%. So they say at least he has a percentage, which is a good place to start from. And they say that because the main opponent, which is the National Democratic Congress, will be introducing a new candidate going into the 2028 elections, they believe Dr. Bawumia has a head start ahead of whoever the NDC will bring. And then also, Dr. Bawumia offers continuity, recognition, and reduced electoral risk as compared to a new fresh face of the party if they choose to bring a different person. And so those are the grounds on which the NPP believe, these 220 MMDCs believe that Dr. Bawumia has a better option, or is a better alternative as compared to the other people who are trying to throw their heart into the competition to lead the NPP into 2028.
In more news tonight, a group of aggrieved teachers from the 2022 batch of the Colleges of Education have vowed to remain at the premises of the Ghana Education Service until their grievances are addressed. The group Monday staged a protest where they demanded payment of their salaries for the past 10 months. Despite hours of picketing, their concerns remain unresolved. Here's a report by Judith Brown.
The aggrieved teachers who were posted to different regions in August 2024 have not been paid for 10 months.
We need our staff IDs, and it is now. We need our staff IDs, and then those who have been validated without their money should get it with immediate effect. That is all that we aim for, because we know that the staff ID is the basis for which you get your money. And without the staff ID, nothing qualifies you to get your money. And so those of us without a staff ID, we need our staff IDs today.
They say they're unable to cope.
My staff ID was released April. Then I was validated. Then when payment was made, I didn't receive any amount. Then we made a follow-up to controller to find out why we were not credited. And controller said our new entrant forms were not submitted. And as we speak, validation was opened 2 days ago. Then our names disappeared from the system. All of us, it is hell. I'm not a native of Tamale. I am renting, paying for utility bills, feeding myself, and expected to look neat in front of my students because as a teacher, I am a role model, a game changer.
It's not easy for me at all because I've been posted to a very deep village without lights. With this small child, how will I survive without money? How will I feed my child? How will I teach? I can't sleep the whole night. When you heard of validation, that validation, it's not easy for me at all. I've sleepless from December up to now. I had my staff ID in December, and my name appeared on January. February, my name disappeared. Why? Is it a crime to be a teacher? What have I done?
I don't have a staff ID. And to be honest in life, I am the only newly posted teacher to that particular school, which has a shortage of staff. I have to ensure that I'm in school early. I have to ensure that I'm the first person to leave the school. You see, all these things is making it difficult. There is no potable water. Even to cook, you have to use pure water. And a sachet of pure water is 12 cedis. How will I survive?
After hours of picketing, Deputy Director General in charge of Management Services at the GES, Professor Smile Gavua Chisi, finally came down to address them.
Technical committee has been formed just to solve all these problems one after the other. So I want to indulge you to please put all these issues on paper, submit them to me, select 5 leaders, we'll sit down and solve the problem. Thank you very much for coming.
But that did not end too well. The teachers expressed discontent and frustration following the address, which they felt was inconclusive and failed to adequately address their concerns. They vowed not to leave the GES premises until their concerns are properly addressed. Conveners of the group have since printed the letter and submitted to the service. It is yet to be known whether their concerns will be addressed and how soon. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
And in the midst of the picketing, we do understand that a SWAT team was deployed at the premises of the Ghana Education Service to drive away the aggrieved teachers. We will give you visuals shortly on your screen, where after picketing, we do understand that a SWAT team came over to drive away the aggrieved teachers. So these are visuals from the premises of the Ghana Education Service, where the aggrieved teachers had vowed to remain at the premises of the Ghana Education Service to picket and drive home their demands for payment of their salaries for the past 10 months.
You are instruction to move the premises. We gave you respect. You didn't order the respect. So move. Leader, all of you are telling you are leaders. What the hell do you mean? Else you visit us. Is it because you are holding on?
We will follow up on this developing story and give updates to our viewers. In more news tonight, workers of the Ghana Meteorological Agency are up in arms with government following what they say is the undue delays to review their service conditions and the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airports Company Limited's indebtedness to the company. The workers further demanded replacement of obsolete instruments to do accurate weather forecasting. The union is also demanding payment of overtime allowance due to some technical assistance. The release notes that the situation is getting out of hand, leading to high attrition rates. Let's now speak to the divisional chairman of the Public Service Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress, Pastor Ahenkan Eju. Pastor Eju, thank you so much for your time. Can you elaborate on the concerns that GMET workers have raised in a recent letter to government?
First of all, thank you very much. I would like to clarify. The name is Pastor Ahenkan Eju.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so the question again.
I was asking you to elaborate on the concerns that GMET workers are having.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and good evening to all your viewers. It's simple as ABCD. Since 2019, we went on strike demanding the same conditions of service and other relating issues. Government came in, they authorized the fair wages to sit with GMET union and management. They agreed that yes, we should go back to the table and set up a subcommittee to look into certain allowances that will be best fit for the staff. And all that we were asking for was to give us an extended overtime allowance. Majority of our people go through harsh conditions. Under the thunderstorm, rainstorm, a lot of them even eventually are bitten by reptiles. Through all this, we've been committed enough to make sure that we render our services to the public. Just last 2 months, we felt that management is not forthcoming with information, and for that matter, we cannot sit aloof and watch it. We have a CBA which is pending. There are other issues in the CBA that we think that management can easily implement for us to also, have good life. Now, our Director General says that he wants to come in with a new condition of service. So we ask ourselves, What is the difference between condition of service and the CBA? Because everything that is captured in the condition of service, we have it in the CA. So why is it that we don't just get the review of the CA?
All right. Now, Pastor, you did mention that delays in reviewing your service conditions. How long has this taken place?
All right. This started, like I said, it's supposed to be reviewed 2017. And coming 2024, we agreed on reviewing the CA. Then management said that no, they want to come in with a new condition of service, of which some of us objected to that. But looking at the other way around, coming from them, we felt that no, they were coming with good faith, and for that matter, we should all support it. Since 2024 till now, it's been back and forth. Early this year, the director told us that yes, they've submitted the thing to Fair Wages. Till now, we've not had any response from Fair Wages. As we are speaking, our people are agitated and they cannot hold it anymore. They are at their wits' end, and for that matter, if the government doesn't come in, it may raise tensions. And for that matter, we are saying that the government, we are appealing to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, if he's listening to us, he should come to our aid, because we see no reason why a consultant has been hired, paid sums of money, and for that matter, still we are at where we are. So the question is, where did the money go? Or is it that the consultant didn't do his homework well?
One of the critical concerns one of the critical concerns that you raise is the use of obsolete instruments. How serious is this situation and its impact on the accuracy on weather forecasting?
Very. I wish one of your people can come to our stations, not Accra, and have to come and see to themselves things that we go through. My dear sister, even Stevenson screens that contains the major and other instruments, such as the thermometers, which checks the temperatures and all that, are all broken down. Some of them are even hanging to the extent that some of them are using sticks to chalk it. Is that how we work? Is it always about buying cars or whatever? But when you ask anything, then they tell you that when you were given the appointment, you were paid, and for that matter, you don't need to be talking about money. So we ask ourselves, is the director general not paid allowances? He travels a lot. Is he not being paid for all those allowances? So why must somebody sit somewhere and think that the work that we are doing, we don't deserve to be paid allowance?
Thank you so much for your time. We will follow up on this development story. Pastor Ahenka is Divisional Chairman of the Public Service Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress.
The Kodia District Court has remanded 2 individuals arrested in connection with a fire outbreak at the official residence of the Afigya Kwabre South Municipal Chief Executive. The suspects face charges of causing damage to public property.
Tensions had been brewing in the Afigya Kwabre South Municipality ahead of the nomination of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives in the Ashanti region. A pro-NDC group had earlier threatened to unleash mayhem and burn public properties if their preferred candidate was not nominated by the president.
Disaster besi of Afigya Kwabre South.
When the final list was released excluding their preferred nominee, tempers fled. Then on Saturday, June 21, at around 10 p.m., the official residence of the municipal chief executive was engulfed in flames.
Because the National Fire Service people came earlier, it couldn't damage the building. So there has been the ceiling. I think the ceiling, it has affected the ceiling and the roofing.
Given the earlier threats, police in Kodia swiftly arrested some individuals linked to the press conference where the warnings were issued.
I believe that the police are doing their investigation and they'll come up with good results. Even as at the time of the incident, the police were able to arrest 2 suspects. As I learned they will be sent to court today, and they are also doing their investigation. So anybody who is involved in this will be apprehended.
It's rather unfortunate at this time our MC needs her resident to move in and work for the district that this thing has happened. But we say we thank God no human life was lost, but just that properties have been damaged. So I will just urge the constituent to remain calm.
When the suspect appeared before the Kodia District Court on Monday, they were remanded in police custody to reappear on Thursday, June 26. For now, the outcome of a joint investigation by the police and the fire service will determine whether the fire was accidental or a deliberate act of arson. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kodia, Ashanti region.
Let's now go to the central region where the Ghana National Fire Service has backed calls to demolish all dilapidated buildings in Cape Coast to ensure public safety. Our correspondent Thomas Khan has been following this development since 2 people lost their lives after a rainstorm resulted in the collapse of a house.
The Ghana National Fire Service was the key security institution that responded to the disaster at London Bridge, a Cape Coast suburb. On Monday, the regional commander, Assistant Chief Fire Officer Mary Afigya Mensah, led senior officers of the service to conduct further investigation and assessment. The tour also took the security agency to a second site where another building was demolished. Later, the delegation visited some survivors to commiserate with them. Victims complained of stolen items.
They should come to our aid and help those who were affected to settle. With the help provided, we can add a little that we have. All our things were destroyed. The few things that we could retrieve were also stolen by people who claimed to help us. If the assembly could help us, we will be very grateful.
Later in an interview, the regional commander of the Ghana National Fire Service, ACFO Mary Afigya Mensah, called on families occupying such buildings to vacate them.
This is rainy season, so if you see that your building is not in good condition, they have to move out before it is too late. Because what happened on Saturday, we lost two people, so we don't want that thing to happen again. And also the authority to see to it that the people are moved to the safer place.
The mayor of Cape Coast, George Justice Arthur, said the assembly will make sure all dilapidated structures are pulled down.
We have about 5 buildings that we are going to demolish, and we have earmarked for that. The other one, we have given them ample time that they should remove their items, their belongings, whatever they have within. So they should pack those. It's an ongoing exercise, and we are not resting. We are not resting. Just that we don't have to do anything without recourse to the family or those occupants. So we need to give them time, engage them, talk to them, tell them the consequential effect of their being in that building.
From the central region, let's come to the Greater Accra region, where the Accra High Court is set to decide on applications by the former chief executive of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund and its board chair to vary their bail terms. Professor Christopher Meyer-Kumfi and Solomon Asamoah have been charged with multiple offences for their role in the $2 million botched Accra SkyTrain project. Lord Edwasare reports.
Former board chairman of the Ghana Infrastructure Investments Fund, Professor Meyer-Kumfi, and the ex-chief executive Solomon Asamoah have been charged with multiple counts of causing financial loss to the state, conspiracy to commit crime, and intentional dissipation of public funds. They are both pleaded not guilty and are on a 10 million Ghana cedi and 15 million Ghana cedi bail respectively, with sureties to be justified. Per the terms of the bail conditions, they are required to report to the police regularly, While Professor Ameyakunfi was ordered to report once a week, Asamoah reports every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until the final determination of the case. Lawyers of the accused persons pray the courts to vary the terms of reporting to the police by their client. Presiding Judge Comfort Asiame ordered the defense lawyers to formally file the application to enable the prosecution to respond before ruling on it. The court is also expected to carry out a case management conference tomorrow, where the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Shremsai, is expected to withdraw some witness statements in the matter. Per the facts of the case, a memorandum of understanding covering the Accra SkyTrain project was signed between GIIF and Africa Investor Holdings Limited. A shareholders agreement dated January 9, 2019 was signed between Africa Investor Holdings Limited, a company incorporated under the laws of the Seychelles, with IBC on one part and the GIIF on the other. Africa Investor Holdings Limited was to transfer 10% of its alleged 100% shares in a company styled AI SkyTrain Consortium Holdings, a limited liability company registered in Mauritius, to the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. Solomon Asamoah, according to the prosecution, signed the shareholders agreement on behalf of GIIF. A few weeks later, on February 4, 2019, AI SkyTrain Consortium Holdings, citing the shareholders agreement as a basis, wrote a letter in which it requested a payment of the lump sum of $2 million as the price for the alleged shares. On February 25, 2019, Asamoah and Professor Ameyakunfi jointly, in a letter, instructed the United Bank for Africa to transfer $2 million from GIIF Project Development Company accounts to the bank account of the Africa Investor Holdings Limited in Mauritius. Nothing was, however, seen or heard of by GIIF after the payment was made. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And away from the courts, the Speaker of Parliament has reaffirmed Ghana's commitment to promoting and safeguarding human and children's rights. Speaking during a meeting with a delegation from the Inter-Parliamentary Union and UNICEF, he outlined key measures undertaken by Parliament to uphold human rights.
The Speaker emphasized Ghana's continued oversight role in the implementation of the Universal Periodic Review, an initiative by the United Nations Human Rights Council to assess human rights records globally. He noted that the workshop being organized by the Inter-Parliamentary Union would further strengthen Ghana's compliance with international human rights recommendations.
Parliament's commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights within the context of the UPR mechanism. Our role as a parliament in the promotion and protection of human rights is very, very crucial. We are one of the most effective instruments to use to implement human rights.
Speaker Bagbin also pointed to several interventions by Parliament aimed at enhancing protections for vulnerable groups.
We have included and enacted the Affirmative Action Gender Equity Bill, and this was assented to by the President on the 11th September 2024. The abolition of the death penalty by Parliament by the passage of the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022. Again, we enacted in 2023 the Criminal Offences Amendment number 2 Bill, which deals with witchcraft. That we had some challenge. His Excellency the President did not assent to that. We are going to do that now. All this will be done this year. Then we established the Committee on Human Rights.
I would like to thank you very much for your availability, your commitment. Today's meeting, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our partner, UNICEF, for their promptness to support our meeting tomorrow.
The Speaker also mentioned the ongoing tensions in the Middle East and the U.S. attacks on Iran's nuclear site. He says the Inter-Parliamentary Union is working to bring some intervention to prevent also what he foresees to be a possible third world war.
We are crying, and there are some interventions we are following up to stop it, because we don't want to go there. So I'll be sending some of you to Gaza and so we'll let some of you go and be buffer You won't go. The first time MPs can go.
Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagno. You're still watching News360 on TV3. Stay with us. Michael Ogbodu has business after this. No, so far regarding Ghana?
At least for now, we can say that, according to Professor Peter Quartey, there's no cause for concern, especially on its impact on inflation.
Okay. Well, let's hear him.
Sounds convincing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take it down.
All right, then. Hello there. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, economist Professor Peter Quartey has sought to allay fears that the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran will significantly derail the government's efforts to bring inflation under control. Crude oil prices have spiked on the global market since the conflict began, raising concerns about potential knock-on effects on fuel prices at the pumps.
The ongoing Israel-Iran conflict has triggered a surge in crude oil prices, with Brent crude jumping nearly 12% in a single day. Although prices have eased slightly, they remain volatile, with experts predicting potential prices ranging from $100 to $130 per barrel if tensions escalate. Concerns are also growing over Iran's potential to block the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for global oil shipments, handling around 20% of the world's oil supply. According to ISA Director Professor Peter Quartey, the impact of the conflict on Ghana's economy will not be significant.
Energy or fuel accounts for some percentage. I mean, when we look at the inflation, its effect in inflation. So it might not be very high, and therefore we may see a continuous decline, or marginal decline, or perhaps the rate might hover around the current rate. But I don't expect inflation to inch upwards. At worst, it will remain stable at the 18% range that we see.
Professor Peter Quartey also urged the government to diversify the country's energy sources, leveraging Ghana's abundant sunlight to reduce dependence on imported oil.
That we need to diversify our energy sources. We cannot just depend on crude oil all the time. There are other green energy that we can look at. These days, we see electric vehicles, we see solar energy, wind pipes, and many other sources of energy. So it's a wake-up call.
Meanwhile, the chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, CBOD, Dr. Patrick Ofori, is calling for improved efficiency in discharging petroleum products at the port to reduce mounting demurrage costs. He warns that these extra charges could be passed on to consumers, especially as global tensions threaten further fuel price hikes.
The prices could have even gone down further if we had efficient lake management system. Currently, you check, I'll give you a range. The cost per ton for products landing at Ghana ranges between $8 to $15 on demurrage alone. So it means that if we were flowing the lake schedule without the erratic, unplanned lake mismanagement, the prices that he's talking about with the CD remaining relatively stable, definitely prices would have even gone down further. And this is why some of us felt that we need an efficient mooring facility. It will take a long time to come in, but the ones that we can control, planning and rewarding compliance within the sector, because it's not a sector that you can just leave it out to anybody to come in and disrupt the market and go.
Now, technical lead for Ghana's second gas processing plant, GPP2, largely Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, says the facility could save the country an average of $1 billion each year once it comes on stream. The government had earlier inaugurated the implementation committee for the construction of GPP2, a major national infrastructure project aimed at boosting domestic energy supply, enhancing industrial output, and positioning Ghana as a regional gas processing hub. The GPP2 project is expected to significantly expand Ghana's gas processing capacity beyond the current 120 million standard cubic feet per day processed at the Atuabo gas plant. With rising demand from the power and industrial sectors, the initiative is also projected to cut an estimated $151 million in annual losses linked to unprocessed natural gas liquids.
Imagine we don't, at a point in time, not thinking about using a huge amount of money to import liquid-based fuel. It's actually very huge. It's estimated as $1 billion within a year, annual basis. That is enough to even build the gas train that we are planning to build. So, yes, so the game changer thing is the fact that we'll be self-reliant, we'll be energy sufficient.
Alhaji Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, technical lead for GPP2, added that the project could serve as a catalyst for other industries, aligning with the government's broader industrialization drive.
It is going to be a game changer, and it is going to be key to our energy security, especially the power side, where potentially even we can have a lot of petrochemical industries springing up if we are able to have a robust gas train.
We bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Good business means seeing the possibilities.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off from the biggest cycling event in Ghana, that's the 3FM Tour de Ghana, which was successfully completed on Saturday, June 21, with riders covering a total distance of about 192 kilometers. Here's a report by my colleague, Rabbi Edweje.
The 5th edition of the 3FM Tour de Ghana, dubbed Pedaling for the Planet, was not just a competition but a vibrant movement for change, advocating for urgent climate action and promoting inclusivity through paracycling. The event kicked off with a speech from the Sports and Recreation Minister, Kofi Adams, who highlighted the importance of the event. This year's event witnessed an impressive turnout and participation, with the race commencing competitively at the Central University. The women's race, on the other hand, started at Sogahope as all races concluded in Aflao. The event featured 56 elite cyclists across various categories, including men, women, and paracyclists, all demonstrating exceptional skill and perseverance. In the men's category, Solomon Tego emerged victorious, securing the top spot after posting a time of 3 hours, 47 minutes, 26 seconds. He was closely followed by Prince Kudufia and Frank Akufu, who took second and third places respectively. The women's race saw Patience Otodong clinch the top spot, successfully defending the title which she won last year.
We keep pushing, we keep training, and we keep hoping that there is more to produce and more to be given to the world.
The paracycling category was equally competitive, with Richard Atta winning first place and successfully defending his title he claimed last year. As the cyclists pedaled through the scenic routes of Ghana, they not only competed but also echoed a powerful message about the urgent need for climate action and the beauty of inclusivity in sports.
Well, congratulations to the winners from the 5th edition of the 3FM Tour de Ghana. But away from cycling, let's do football, where ahead of the Black Queens' participation in the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, the senior women's national team secured a comfortable 3-1 victory against Malawi over the weekend as Kim Las-Yerkegren sharpens his forwards for the tournament. The Queens will compete against South Africa, Tanzania, and Mali in Group C. Now, my colleague Asiedu-Dartey has more in the following report.
With barely 2 weeks to the start of the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco, the Black Queens of Ghana have been preparing assiduously to meet up with their opponents in Group C. The team have played a game against Malawi in Morocco, which they won 3-1, kind courtesy a Doris Bouedua hat-trick. The team have now come back onto winning ways after suffering a number of defeats and draws in some friendly games they have played as they prepare for this particular tournament. This is Coach Kim Las-Yerkegren's second win in charge of the Black Queens team, a win against Malawi at this stage of the competition. Very crucial for Coach Kim, who is also preparing to play against Benin on the 25th of June 2025. After that engagement, he would also play another friendly against Nigeria on the 29th of July. Today, CAF organized a webinar which hosted a number of players, including Jennifer Kujo of Ghana, Barbara Banda of Zambia, and then Rashidat Ajibade of Nigeria. According to Jennifer Kujo, who spoke on the team's preparation to meet up with defending champions South Africa in the tournament, she says that it's special and important for the Black Queens of Ghana to play against South Africa and that nobody should be downplaying their performance in the tournament, as they hope to walk away with all 3 points when they play their group opener in Ujda against South Africa.
Well, that was my colleague Asiedu-Dartey with the latest in the Black Queens' pursuit for glory at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Now, before we go, let's look ahead of Match Day 3 in the 2025 FIFA World Cup, and that's the Club World Cup. 5 teams have already secured their spots in the last 16 of the competition. The sides include Flamengo, Bayern Munich, Botafogo, Manchester City, and Juventus. Meanwhile, five-time winners Real Madrid need a win in the last group game against Salzburg to seal their place in the last 16, while PSG desperately also need a win in their game against Seattle Sounders just to make sure of qualification. Lionel Messi's Inter Miami would also need to avoid a defeat when they come up against Group A leaders Palmeiras, whilst Chelsea, on the other hand, also have to avoid defeat in their final group game against Esperance Tunis. Champions League runners Inter Milan would also be looking to make the round of 16 when they come up against River Plate in their final game. However, let's take a look at what's ahead in the next 12 hours in the Club World Cup. And it's Paris Saint-Germain who currently lead by 1-0 thanks to a fortuitous goal from Kivica Kvaratskhelia. It's 0-0 in the match between Atletico Madrid and Botafogo, whilst later tonight around midnight, Inter Miami would face Palmeiras, whilst FC Porto hosts already eliminated Al Ahly. Well, we go for a quick break here, and the News 360 will be continuing right after this.
It's now time for international news.
Iran has launched missiles at U.S. air bases in Qatar and Iraq In response to strikes on its nuclear sites on Saturday, Qatar confirmed the attack on the US-run Asiedu-Dartey base, calling it a flagrant violation, and says it reserves the right to respond directly. The country has temporarily closed its airspace, and US and UK citizens have been advised shelter in place. In Washington, Donald Trump is attending a National Security Council meeting after the White House earlier said he was simply raising a question and floating the idea of regime change in Iran. It comes as Israel says it is targeting Tehran with unprecedented force, including attacks on access routes to the Fordow nuclear sites and Evin prison. 3 police officers in Kenya have been charged with the murder of a 31-year-old blogger who died in police custody earlier this month. Albert Ojwang's death has sparked outrage in Kenya, with protests held to demand justice. Ojwang was arrested after Kenya's deputy police chief filed a complaint accusing the blogger of defaming him on social media. Mr. Lagat stepped aside last week pending the outcome of investigations into Ojwang's death. He has denied any wrongdoing. The 3 police officers, Samson Kiprotich, Talam James Mokwana, and Peter Kimani, were charged along with 3 civilians.
And that's it for our show. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia Gabor. Do join the sports station team at 9 p.m. as well as Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.